American Broadcasting alongside the great Chris Morganti. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, Steve. We have a movie to take a look at this week. It came to me on the advice of a mutual friend of ours, and I don't know how we're going to feel about this movie, so I'm not going to give his name. We can just call him Bartleby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in 1985, Richard Ramirez terrorized California by going on a spree that ended more than a dozen lives. And as the body count rose, the case received more and more media attention. But of course, no one knew the name of the suspect. So editors at the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, they got together to decide on how to identify Ramirez in their continuing coverage. They settled on calling him the Night Stalker, a name inspired by our movie of the week of the week. The Night Stalker. It aired on January 11th, 1972 on ABC.
Okay.
It was hugely successful.
And what year did you say the Richard Ramirez stuff happened?
85.
Okay. Yeah, much later then.
Yeah. The Night Stalker stars Darren McGavin, probably best known as the 80-year-old father of an 8-year-old in A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
He plays Carl Kolchak. Now, this was the first of two made-for-TV movies starring Darren McGavin as Kolchak. Later, it became a 20-episode series called Kolchak, the Night Stalker. And that series heavily influenced the later show, The X-Files.
Yeah.
That's kind of a confusing title, Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Yeah. And I forget the actor's name, but he actually produced that whole TV series. And the reason it ended is because he just got sick of it. Decided he didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't actually canceled, but yeah.
Made it to 20 episodes. I guess he felt like, well, that's good enough. Told the stories I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And I'm moving on. Yeah. So, that show, Kolchak, the Night Stalker, it's kind of misleading because Kolchak is not the Night Stalker.
I don't know who's the Night Stalker in this. I mean, is it the villain? Is that the Night Stalker?
Yes, he's the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
You watched this one, right?
I did watch it, yes. But he's never referred to as the Night Stalker.
But who's the one stalking in the night, Chris?
Well, we'll get to that. I would say no one, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, Carl Kolchak, the Darren McGavin character, he's an investigative reporter hot on the trail of a shadowy crime suspect. Kolchak is played by Darren McGavin, as we mentioned. I mentioned that 3 times, I think. That's a mistake. But as Kolchak, he's a newspaper man who's been booted from big market media for, I guess, playing by his own rules. Playing fast and loose with convention. And speaking of fast, loose, and conventions, he ends up in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, after a woman is found lifeless in an alley, a second body is discovered. And here, Kolchak arrives at the scene alongside law enforcement, including the sheriff, played by who else? Claude Akins.
Cocktail waitress at the Harem Room Casino.
Is that... Jim, can you go back like 5 seconds? The guy to his left, that's the guy you're talking about? Claude, whatever you just said?
Claude Akins, yeah.
Okay. Now, you can, let it roll until we see that guy. I've seen that guy right there.
That's him, yeah.
I've seen him many times.
Yes.
But I didn't know how to go about Googling him because I couldn't even put anything to it. Where would I have seen him?
Well, I'm going to reveal in just a little bit where you've seen him.
Okay, all right.
Look at her throat.
She must have lost an awful lot of blood.
Cheryl Hughes lost a lot of blood, too.
You read that in the newspapers, did you?
No, I didn't read that in the newspaper.
This girl lost a lot of blood, Sheriff. But she didn't lose it here.
Yeah. Claude Akins made an odd career decision once Bonanza left the airwaves.
So Bonanza's where
You might have seen him. I guarantee you he had this conversation with his agent. Yeah. Look, listen, I don't care that it's Broadway. I don't care that it's King Lear. I don't care that Olivier is directing. Look, I do two things. I play the sheriff and I sell transmission repairs. That's it. If you can't come to me with one of those things, I don't even want to hear about it. So what's this other thing you have? No, not doing it. Yes, I'm listening. Yes, I heard the word Scorsese. You know what word I didn't hear? Sheriff!
So he turned down a Scorsese role and the opportunity to play King Lear, or play opposite Olivier, I guess.
Because it didn't involve portraying a sheriff.
Yeah.
Now, the official word from law enforcement contradicts Kolchak's own crime scene observations, and it also doesn't jibe with info Kolchak receives from his connections in the medical community.
Yeah. He's got a lot of connections around town.
Yeah.
It doesn't really play into the fact that he's supposed to be almost like a drifter, but whatever. He's also handing out, I don't know what his salary is on this newspaper, but he's just throwing money around.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
So his editor is not best pleased with the story on the killings that Kolchak submits.
I haven't heard about it. Who said this new killing is connected with the Cheryl Hughes murder? The police? Not to me, they haven't. Who said Cheryl Hughes died of massive blood loss? The coroner again? No, he hasn't even turned in his report yet. And who, may I ask, said that a super powerful madman is running loose in Las Vegas? You hearing voices, Kolchak?
I did not make up the facts.
Oh, I know your boy. Big-time reporter like you condemned to the sticks for those journalistic grooves.
I did not make
I know
up.
you'd like a big fat byline on a big fat story so you can pay your way back to a big fat city job.
I did not.
Kolchak, I expect you to report, not to come up with fairy tales. And Kolchak, quit barking the PD. If something turns up, they'll let us know. Meanwhile, use your head and lay off. Whatever they're up to, they don't want any help from amateur bloodhounds like you.
Yeah, he won't run a sensationalist story. That one newspaper editor has more integrity than all of ABC News in 2024. But,
Well, soon, two more crimes occur. One more woman's life is ended in a way similar to the other victims.
yeah, there you go.
And then there's a burglary.
Carl Kolchak. Telephone, please. Carl Kolchak.
Kolchak. Hi, Carl. I just thought you'd like to know I heard the Parkway Hospital was knocked over.
Knocked over for what? Cash, drugs, equipment, what? Blood.
That's right. Every container in the place. Their entire stock.
What about blood type?
Seems blood type and RH factor didn't much matter.
John.
Can't stop now. See you.
Can we see just a couple more seconds here?
Yeah, but...
There it is. I think we can safely call that look doing the vampire math.
Did he say Yahoo at the end there? What was the last word he said?
Oh, possibly. I missed that.
I don't know.
Soon, there's a small press conference held by city leaders with the local coroner. Now, Kolchak asks the coroner if it's possible the deaths are caused by someone who is expressly after human blood. The coroner agrees that's a possibility and adds that perhaps it's a delusional man who believes he is a vampire and is acting out on his fantastical desires. He even cites an historical case of this occurring.
Mm-hmm. Now, this was after they ruled out that it was not a dog.
Yes.
Remember? Dog.
Someone, I believe the coroner said they're dog-like barks on the victims' necks.
And
then everybody immediately got offended that you're saying a dog did this? No one said that. Calm down, Claude Akins. So as the DA tries to wrap up this conference, the coroner interrupts him to make one last point.
Thank you, Doctor.
Mr. Payne, I shouldn't be too inclined to reject Mr. Kolchak's theory out of hand if I were you. It is at best highly speculative, but not altogether unwarranted.
Kolchak. You can throw away that cassette.
Now, this vampire stuff is to stay right in this room. Until we have the assailant in custody, we say nothing about these women being drained of blood. There'll be no rumors, no reports in the paper. The official opinion at this time is that the cause of death is undetermined. We don't want to cause a panic. It's bad for police operations. It's bad for the people. And it's bad for business.
Yeah.
Now, who is that white-haired dude?
He's the DA.
Okay.
Yeah, here again, Kolchak is kneecapped by the power structure. Now, meantime, the spree continues. A showgirl is found dead in her driveway, drained of blood. But the woman's mother spotted the attacker and was able to describe his vehicle. Kolchak heads to the courthouse to get some inside info from a big source of his, and this scene won't let that fact go unnoticed.
My best contact in Las Vegas has always been Helen O'Brien, chief switchboard operator at the county courthouse. Hello, adorable.
You're a sadist.
Oh, I could take it back.
Over my dead, plump body.
Listen, you magnificent morsel. The DMV is checking on the suspect's car. Now, you couldn't help me in that area, could you?
Of course not. Bribed again.
Yep, bribed again. Hey, Kolchak, you're in Las Vegas. It's the 1970s. Have you considered that this woman might be an Elvis Presley fan? Maybe take her to see Elvis for her efforts? But no, she's a big gal, so it has to be Candy.
Yeah.
We can't even show the scene where he curries favor with a black secretary by bringing what appears to be a month's worth of props for a Gallagher show. Not on, Kolchak. Not on. Very, very unswinging. Yeah. So that last victim's mother, she caught a glimpse of not only the suspect's vehicle, but also his face. So a composite sketch is generated.
Right.
And it appears in the press.
Was he wearing a big hat?
No.
Oh.
And we as viewers are about to lay eyes on the Night Stalker for the first time. Yeah. Now, that woman, she merely goes missing. We'll see her again in a situation in which I think could solve everybody's problem here.
Right.
This whole thing could be a win-win and potentially its own economy. But for now, we learned that the name and address connected to the Night Stalker's vehicle, those turn out to be phony. So, still on the loose, he returns to the scene of a previous crime.
He's in there.
Oh, right there. What you see how that guy grabbed? He gets thrown back up against that rack,
yes,
and then he grabs it, so that he can pull it down. And there he pulls another one.
He does it again.
Yeah. It's very obvious that those racks wouldn't have come down on their own. Yeah.
A little more till 31:35. All right.
Yeah, that in addition to stealing that blood, he also didn't pay the $2 parking fee.
Oh,
that's what they were mostly upset about.
Yes. So after police arrive, multiple shots are fired at the suspect, who simply runs away at great speed and unscathed. Well, Kolchak, he plays witness to this, and his theory on what kind of being the Night Stalker may be, it evolves. He makes mention of this at the next press conference.
Finally be rid of him.
So far, he has killed 4, probably 5 women. Now, the coroner said that those bite marks on the throat were made by human teeth. He practically confirmed the fact that he actually drank their blood. Now, wait, now, whatever the Skorzeny may be, he seemed to be functioning as if he were a vampire. Now, you can go on operating as if he were an ordinary man. That's up to you. But I know that the only way you're going to get him is if you proceed under the assumption that he's a real live vampire.
Yeah. Now, earlier in that press conference, the FBI representative revealed the name of the suspect, Janos Skorzeny, an international fugitive and in his 70s.
Right.
And this man just can't be stopped. And it's only after an incident where police shoot 30 to 40 bullets into the Night Stalker to no avail. Only then do authorities, they start to take seriously Kolchak's assertion that they're dealing with an actual vampire.
Before I do, is it agreed that in return for my help, you will grant me the exclusive rights to the entire story?
Well, let's say it's agreeable if we decide to follow your suggestions regarding the suspect.
Fine, because if you don't follow my suggestions, you're going to be chasing your suspect till doomsday.
Kolchak, just get on with it.
Of course. Each man in the field is to be issued one of these.
In case he pulls over Mel Gibson. We don't want any unnecessary hurdles to Mel's cooperation. Kolchak, he also reveals the tools police need to deal with the Night Stalker.
It's a repair store. I woke him up and had him make it. Each man in the field is to be issued one of these and one of these.
Are you suggesting that we pound one of these into Skorzeny's chest?
No, into his heart.
There's a legal phrase for that, Kolchak. You might have run into it once or twice in your broad experience. It's called premeditated murder.
It's the only way you're going to stop him. You heard your own men. Can they all be wrong? Oh, you can stop your nighttime chases from now on, too, gentlemen. The only hope you have is to spot Skorzeny and then track him back to where he lives and wait until sunrise before finishing him off. He's only vulnerable during the day. At night, he's much too strong.
Yeah. So the DA and the sheriff, they agree to arm their men per Kolchak's suggestion.
Yeah, and they also agreed to give Kolchak an exclusive on this whole story in exchange for his help, which consisted of explaining to them what every single person alive knows about vampires. They're afraid, they don't like sunlight, and you can only kill them by hammering the stake through their heart.
Right.
Who doesn't know this?
Well, it's not that they don't know.
He's coming across as some kind of expert.
Well, yeah, but also they weren't. This is real. This is true life. This is not Doritos or anything. So they're not expecting this to be an actual vampire. That is the stuff of fiction. They've only just come around to this being the case.
I know, but once you accept that maybe we're dealing with a vampire, you don't need to bargain with a reporter because he read Bram Stoker's Dracula
because he knows
in
about
middle school, you know?
Fair enough. I see what you're saying. So this guy, he's a man of super strength, yet they want him taken alive. No jail can contain him. So that's an unlikely result. Kolchak ends up scoring Skorzeny's address from an old friend who shows the Night Stalker's composite to every real estate agent in town.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, him shelling out a lot of dough. Like, that guy didn't do that for free.
Probably not. Who knows?
Yeah.
One of those estate agents confirms having sold the man in the picture a house. So Kolchak heads over to that address and lets himself in through a conveniently unlocked window.
Show your forearms. Shh. Relax, son. His own private blood bank. Wow.
That's it. His own private blood bank.
Yeah.
What a brilliant idea.
Yeah, sure.
I won't say this vampire has gone about everything the right way. He really needs to rein it in a little bit, but he is on to something here. Let's say vampires are real, Chris. We can say that they've spent millennia being vilified for their shenanigans. This guy is about to turn all of that around. Now, he shouldn't have abducted this woman. That's obvious. But what if he instead paid her and others to come by voluntarily every so often and contribute a pint or two? No one gets bitten. No one gets stabbed in the heart. Everyone lives. Human blood regenerates as long as you have enough to keep yourself alive. Like the Queen song, hey, take your own advice, buddy. This could change everything for the reputations of vampires. Create $1 billion industry, save lives, everybody wins. I'm all for it.
No, it sounds like you have it all figured out, Steve.
Well, I think this guy could have been the Henry Ford of vampires.
Sure.
Well, with day about to break, the Night Stalker arrives home and finds Kolchak milling about in his digs. A scuffle ensues. Kolchak's friend, an FBI agent, joins him on the scene and in the fracas.
See, this is where they lost me, Steve. I read the original Dracula. I read a couple other Dracula novels by a guy named Kim Newman. I saw the Anne Rice adaptation, Interview with a Vampire, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
In all those, the vampire is like a charismatic person, right? That's how he lures his victims. He's also very calculating and whatnot. They turned him here. He's hissing. You never even hear the guy speak. He's like a Scooby-Doo villain here, without the mask being off. I don't know, man. It didn't seem like the right way to end this. But
so you didn't feel like this vampire was realistic enough?
I felt like the vampire portrayals that I'd known before this were more threatening and more interesting than this. Is almost like a zombie. I don't know.
You don't find him to be a Night Stalker?
Yeah. I mean, a Night Stalker who steals blood from the hospital? I don't know.
But he doesn't merely steal blood from the hospital. He's been stalking women around Las Vegas.
I guess. I don't know.
And drinking their blood.
Sure.
All right.
How did he if he can't talk, how did he buy a house? and do most real estate agents work on the hours of 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.?
He doesn't talk.
Normally you meet them during the day to view a house, right?
Okay, fair point. But he also attempts to buy a car. And the car dealer recounts a conversation he had with this man.
I missed that part. Are we going to see that?
No, we're not.
All right. Well, I think we should just move on.
Okay, well, let's. We're not through with this clip, so let's see what occurs here. So Kolchak returns home and writes the article of his life. And eager to have it published, he imagines being able to punch his own ticket to the big city daily of his choosing. And this part of the film and what follows hit me on a personal level, Chris.
Uh-oh.
So many times in this pursuit and others like it, I felt so close to breaking through. I could feel it. I would think, man, what we just did was so good. Folks are bound to notice. This is undeniable. And then, well, let's just see what happens.
What's going on?
Carl Kolchak, you're under arrest on the charge of murder. The state requires that you be informed that you have the right to remain silent.
No. Oh, no. No chance. You're not going to pull that one on me. No.
Kolchak! You are under arrest.
Well, I'm pretty sure a first-year law student could get an acquittal on the murder of a vampire.
Yeah, I don't know if... they did say that they cremated the body afterwards. Yeah. Oh.
And I don't think there's much to worry about there, but it turns out only to be a threat. What they actually do to Kolchak and his article, in my opinion, is far worse.
This is your story, Kolchak. It's already being printed. This morning, shortly before sunrise, Las Vegas sheriff deputies under the command of Sheriff Warren A. Butcher, 45, surrounded the home of Janos Skorzeny, a fugitive from a federal warrant, and in a pitch gun battle were forced to kill him.
Never. You'll never get away with it.
What's to stop me?
You're going to stop yourself, Kolchak. Because if you open your mouth, we'll find you, bring you back, use this warrant, and put you away forever. Pick him up, Kolchak.
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
I suppose, yeah. Now, is that all you have for?
That's everything I have for this, yeah.
Now, there was, as we mentioned earlier, there was a sequel TV movie to this made the next year. And then I suppose the year after that, they did a full-run TV series season. Is it worth watching more of this?
For entertainment purposes?
I will not be watching this for entertainment purposes. Okay. For show purposes, is it worth doing more?
Well, that depends on how this episode does.
Oh, fair enough.
That's what I'd leave it to that if you don't mind.
Okay. I mean, what did you think? Because I think it's clear from what I've said that this was not all that good to me. But what did you think?
I didn't mind it at all. I especially enjoyed that it's an hour and 14 minutes.
Sure.
Made things a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But as a suspense, kind of, it's a tall order to pull apart plot in that. But I think I enjoyed preparing this.
Okay. So, and you enjoyed the movie,
but that's how my metric is always whether or not I think we can get something out of it, not so much the movie itself.
All right. Well, I mean, you can still objectively say whether or not it was any good, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was all right.
All right.
I'm amazed at how highly rated it was. Now, I know it was a different time. There were 3 networks, and a town might also have 2 independent stations and a PBS station.
Right.
So there wasn't much to choose from. But nearly half of all American televisions that were turned on were tuned into this.
Yeah. And the YouTube video, which is what we're watching, the comments below it, all universally positive, talking about how great it was.
And I imagine fans of the X-Files have an appreciation of it and see something in this that they see in the X-Files. That was a huge show.
Yeah, I never saw that, so I don't know. But I would have just chalked it all up to nostalgia, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's a predecessor to something else. All right. Did we hit the goal?
I think we hit the goal, Chris. All right. Thanks so much for participating. For Jim Corhan, Chris Bergani, I'm Steve Rees. Askiwiwi.
Askiwawa.
Hola Maganao.
Tigers.
Ian and Raul, I have a chair in my way. I might barrel into a chair. Oh boy, that was bad.
The Rees Company. Better than you and your stupid kid.